Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and these are Charter Moms Chats. Today, we're featuring Young Men's Leadership Academy, and we have a brand new Teacher Tales guest post on the blog. So if you go to sachartermoms.com, it's at the top of the blog right now. And let me introduce our guest. So she wrote the guest blog post, and then she's here to talk about her work as a teacher at Young Men's Leadership Academy. So we have Jessica Avalos, and she teaches classes like research and technical writing and English at Young Men's Leadership Academy at Wheatley. She also coaches cross country for middle school and high school. She's an advisor for clubs like National Honor Society. So I'm really excited to talk to Jessica today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to meet with you and to represent Young Men's Leadership Academy.
Yeah. So, and I should explain that actually cross-country practice is happening right now, folks. So if a student has a question for Coach Avalos, then she might have to take a little break. But I'm really happy that we get to talk to her, and I appreciate that she's taking time out of her busy day to answer questions. Yeah, help parents learn about YMLA.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So okay. So I actually, in the intro, I kind of ran down the list of like what you teach and what clubs you advise, at least some of them. But can you give us like kind of the big picture?
Sure. So I have been teaching with Young Men's Leadership Academy since 2019. I currently teach seniors, and they take an elective writing course called Research and Technical Writing. And then I teach English too. So on our campus, our students for English and math, they're typically one grade level ahead compared to the traditional public school. So most of the time sophomores would be taking English too, but at Young Men's Leadership Academy, our freshmen take English too. So I also teach them as well. I am the co-sponsor for the senior class, so I help them with fundraising and organizing their senior trip and prom. And I am also the advisor for National Honor Society. So this is our second year of having a chapter on our campus. We're a fairly new campus in regards to high school. And I am also the head cross-country coach for high school and the head cross-country coach for middle school.
Yeah, wow. That's a lot. I think we, like every year there's teacher appreciation, but I think when you talk to individual teachers, you realize how many things are on their plate, then it really comes home.
Sure, yes. Plus our school is pretty small, and so a lot of us wear multiple hats.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, I appreciate that you can talk about all those different aspects. And then also, actually, you have a child who's a student at YMLA, right?
I do, yes. So my son started at YMLA when he was in the 4th grade, and now he's a 6th grade student. So I'm also a parent as well.
That's awesome. Okay. So now, one of the things I appreciate in your blog post, you put the mission for YMLA. So can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So we are a college prep campus, especially at the high school level. And our goal is to make sure that our students leave knowing that they're able to accomplish what they set their minds to. So also known as self-efficacy, that they're able to do it on their own. They're able to be resilient, and they're able to pursue their dreams as well, all through hard work, especially.
Yeah. Well, it's important to have a clear mission statement, right? So you know where you're going.
Right.
Yeah. And then, so I think one of the things that's unique, like, okay, so like at SHR Moms, we try to help people understand that there are so many different learning models, like across charter schools across San Antonio, and even just within the SAISD choice schools, right? But, and so, but there aren't that many of these like single gender schools in San Antonio. But so I feel like in the blog post, you did a really good job describing like, why is it important to design a campus for male learners, right? Because the research shows there are differences in how boys learn versus girls. So I was wondering if you could explain more about that. Like, what do you see as some of the benefits of a campus that's especially designed for the male learners?
Sure. So, when I first was learning about Young Men's Leadership Academy, as odd as this sounds, one of the highlights for me was the chairs that students sit in. And so research has proven that most males tend to enjoy movement. And, sometimes you may have heard where teachers will tell children to sit still or put their hands under their bottom so they won't move. But we have these desks called nodes on our campus, and every class has them. I see if I can show you what they look like. So there are these chairs here. So the desks move, and the entire, I'm sitting on a node myself. The entire chair itself spins around in a circle. And so students know that they can have movement. Boys primarily learn through movement. And we do a lot of group work as well. So that's another item that we learned is that traditionally young men tend to like to bounce ideas off of each other. They like the camaraderie and the brotherhood. And so the notes are a perfect example of how we can easily have them move their desk to come into a group or separate when they have to work individually for an assignment. We also have 45-minute classes. So that was another area that we were founded on, that boys, since they like movement, sending in 90-minute classes sometimes just isn't the best opportunity for them to capture learning and stay engaged. And so we have 9 periods throughout the day and 45 minutes. Another item that we focus on in our school is that our students get recess every day, and that goes from grades 5th through seniors. So even seniors, all the way through seniors, get recess. So they have 30 minutes for lunch, and then they go outside and have 15 minutes of recess every day.
Sorry, I got to unmute myself. In our Facebook discussion group, parents have, it's not just moms, but moms and dads. They have lots of questions about like if they have a young child who's a boy and they're noticing how active they are, and they're worried about what it's going to be like for them in a school setting. And so it can be reassuring to know that there's a school that understands, boys need to move, and that's smart. Like having shorter class periods, and then the idea of doing individual work versus group work. You could scoot your chair around, and you're in a new position, and your brain is ready for something new.
Absolutely, yes, Sam.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, can you talk more about some of the unique traditions that y'all have at YMLA? Like, and some of these are like meetings that bring like all the students together, right?
Sure, yes. So Mondays during the week from 8:30 to about 9 o'clock, we have something called Guy Talk. And it's essentially where we'll have guest speakers or a principal talk about common issues that the traditional male might face in the teenage level, adolescence. And so today we talked about kindness, and we talked about how the importance is of just checking in on someone, giving them a high five, giving them a fist bump when you see them in the hallway. That could really impact a young man. Letting them know that they simply exist is very important. So that's the topic that we talked about today. We've talked about hard work and resilience plenty of times. We've talked about how to overcome lulls, how to deal with people who maybe you don't get along with. So all sorts of things. We also have something called houses, and basically every senior, so we have 32 seniors, and they have a house system. And that is where students from the grades of 5th grade through 12th grade, they're broken up. So there's about 12 to 15 students per group, and they're broken up and they have discussions. A student might bring a topic to the table of perhaps I'm having a really hard time in my algebra class, and students can offer tutoring to them. Sometimes it's very free, and they get online together and they'll play games together, or have a gaming competition, or they'll go outside and play basketball. So it really tailors to every type of young man. So we have athletic students, we have band students, we have students who are interested in choir, we have students who are into art. So Pokemon to like collecting NFL cards, all sorts of interests from young men that we really embrace and allow them to express themselves freely.
Yeah, well, that's great. That makes so much sense. Guy Talk, like, having a time to like, what it sounds like is they can be themselves. They don't necessarily feel like they have to act a certain way because there's girls watching them.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Another tradition we have is meditation, and so it starts at 1:17 because I'm going off of the list. So it goes from 1:17 is when they transition. So from 1:20 to 1:30, they all have our school teachers included. We're not allowed any visitors inside during that time. We have a school-wide meditation. Our principal believes that meditation can rejuvenate a student's mind and relax them and help them become refocused. And so we do that together as a school every single day.
Yeah, what a great skill that they can take with them. Like
yes.
during your workday, like take a little bit of your lunch break to recenter, and then you're refreshed for your afternoon of work. Good habits. Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask about that you touched on in the blog post is, or actually you mentioned this earlier too, that the students do advanced work that, right. So like even in 8th grade, they're already starting to take some advanced classes. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So yes, so 8th grade, they start taking 3 high school level courses. So one of the courses is Algebra 1, which is traditionally offered as a freshman in high school. English 1, same thing, traditionally offered as a freshman in high school, and Latin 1. So our school only offers Latin, and the reason for that is since we're a college prep school, we do find that learning about Latin can help them with deciphering words on the SAT or ACT. So those are the 3 high school level courses that students take. Every other class is either honors or AP courses. The content is rigorous. We focus a lot on student discussion. Discourse is very important to us. We find that students tend to learn better from each other versus lecture style. So not so much do students just sit and take notes and listen to the teacher, but we really want students to talk with one another, to engage in ideas. I will say that I know that can sound overwhelming, especially me as a parent. I was a bit concerned. One of my children, or the child that comes here, has dyslexia, and so I was unsure of whether or not he'd be able to keep up with the rigor. But I will say that my son has grown tremendously since he's been at YMLA. In fact, he was below grade level, by 3 grade levels when he first started here, and now he's earning masters in reading and meets on math tests. So um, we will meet accommodations, absolutely. We recognize that students learn differently, but what I value most about our school is that we don't make excuses for students just because of maybe their learning differences. We know that they are all able to learn at a high level, regardless of whatever accommodations that they need.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's wonderful. It's great to give kids the opportunity to do the advanced coursework, and then the pride they have in themselves, and it's a good complement to things like the meditation, the guy talk, right. They're learning habits that will help them succeed, and they're being exposed to the advanced coursework.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the things in the post that you responded to is I had questions about like professional development and like how does YMLA support you as a teacher, and you gave some examples of things that you're able to learn and the ways you're able to progress and grow your skills. So how are you? What are you working on in your career?
Sure. So I find that my principal is very supportive in what I plan to pursue. So I'm currently seeking a master's degree in school counseling. I'm enrolled at Texas A&M University in San Antonio. But before that, he was always very encouraging of where I wanted to go and learn about professionally. Harvard often offers institutes or one-day seminars for teachers, and you can enroll online. And so there has been a course, it's called the Questioning Institution, and he allowed me to go. He's paid for books that anything and he's paid for books that I've requested to help me become a better English teacher. Our district also offers several number of professional development sessions throughout the year. They offer, I believe, 2 where everything is on through Zoom, and it's called PD in your PJs. And so teachers can log in their PJs at the comfort of their home. And then, of course, we have built-in professional development days during the week where students are off and teachers will go to different campuses and select the professional development opportunities. So I will say in that aspect, our district definitely provides the resources for us. And I'm very blessed to have an administrator who also encourages PD as well.
Yeah, that's great because it helps you develop in your career and helps you to serve your students, even better with the things you learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the questions that I asked in the prompts was like, well, what's different about YMLA than maybe other schools you've taught at? And one thing you mentioned, and you mentioned this at the beginning too, that it's kind of new to have high school grades. That has the campus has grown recently, and so you're able to like be there to help the students establish new organizations and new traditions. Can you talk more about that?
Sure. So this year is only going to be our third graduating class. And because our school is so new, it gives us opportunities to create new student organizations. So, as I mentioned, this is only the second year of National Honor Society. So, we never had one before that. As a senior co sponsor, something new that we are incorporating is College Announcement Day. And so that is was traditionally done over the past 2 years in our gym. And so now we're going to have it at the Alamo Convocation Center, and we're very excited to have it there. One of our other teachers is starting a debate club on campus. We have another teacher who has thrift stores on campus every Wednesday, so he's asked families to donate any items, and then whatever profit he makes, he donates to the senior class. So there's just so many opportunities for teachers to get involved here. And as I mentioned before, our administrator is very supportive of anything that will keep the student in mind.
Wow, I saw I visited the Facebook page and I saw things like about the thrift store, and I saw about
Yes.
the boys choir advancing, and I saw the football team. So right, like YMLA has a really competitive football team in the district.
Yes, they've made the playoffs every year since they've had a varsity team, and our basketball team as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think there's kind of a stereotype maybe, or a myth, that charter schools or choice schools don't have those kinds of programs, but clearly, YMLA is offering, like you described, a lot of clubs, a lot of sports. So there's a lot of activities to bring the students together so that they feel like they're part of a community.
Absolutely. We also partner with Young Women's Leadership Academy for our middle school dances. And so those are very popular whenever we host those. So we do partner with the school when it comes to social opportunities as well.
Yeah. Speaking of YWLA, right? So you used to work at Page, which
Oh,
is the
yes,
campus that became the YWLA primary campus,
that's
right?
right. Yes. And so, yes, so Page was a turnaround school. I'm very proud of it. So we were able to turn it around from an F campus to a B campus when it was in its last year. But yes, now Page Middle School is Young Women's Leadership Academy primary.
Yeah. In fact, no, we just had a question about that today in the charter moms group. So the moms and dads are interested in the YWLA curriculum for their young kids, right? And then just a little context for folks. The YWLA secondary is actually just west of downtown. So and then where y'all are located, it's on the east side, and it's actually, like, sometimes you'll see it written as Young Men's Leadership Academy at Wheatley, because Wheatley was a historic African American school on the east side, right?
Yes, you got it, ma'am. Yes, it was a segregated school in San Antonio. Yes.
Yeah. So and if anyone's wondering, like, what Wheatley, what does that mean? So Phyllis Wheatley was a poet, African American poet in the 19th century. So
Yes.
it's keeping the traditions alive, even as sometimes SAISD kind of rearranges different campuses and different missions, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Some of the important helpful things that you put in your post was advice for, like, if there's teachers who are listening and they're thinking, hey, maybe I want to apply to teach at a charter school or a choice school. And then also, as a parent, like, if you're looking at different schools and you're trying to decide, is this the right fit for my kid? So what advice do you have for those, like, job seeking teachers and like parents and caregivers doing their school search?
Sure. Actually, I was just having a conversation. I have a clinical student teacher. She is also going to Texas A&M San Antonio. She's completing her bachelor's degree in education, and we were talking about, what I told her I was going to do the interview, and she was saying, I think it's very important to note that YMLA isn't the traditional charter school, and it honestly just doesn't feel like an average school either. Our administration is definitely student centered, and I know all schools are, but he believes in growth. So he always tells us that. So he says, there might be some students who are gifted, and they're going to earn, masters on their state assessments, regardless if there's a teacher in the room or not. But what he's hoping for is that they're growing, right? So they're earning these high grades, but are they also being challenged? Um, and the same thing for our students who maybe have to work a little bit more in order to get that B. He's wanting to make sure that they are growing as well. Um, I just find us to be, I'm happy that my son's here. I think of stories like we had a Halloween costume contest. It was completely student led. The seniors led it, and they all cheered for the main winner. We have pep rallies during football season. We're gonna have a pep rally on Friday for basketball. I want to say, like, out of my seniors to 32, four of them probably are not involved in athletics. And it's not to say that if you're not in athletics, you won't fit in at the school. That's not it either. So we do have quite a bit of boys who are in band as well. Band is very popular at our school. Our band program, I believe it is in its third year. So there's just so many things to do on campus and so many ways to get involved. And um, it's also diverse. That's another thing that I love about our campus and for my son to experience. We live off of 1604 in Culebra. So we live in Callison Ranch. So he's traditionally supposed to go to Henderson Elementary and then Harlan High School. So we drive about an hour and a half to get here every day. And it's worth it to me. The learning is phenomenal. He has friends that live across the street from our school. And then he has friends that live in Stone Oak, or he has friends who live on the south side. And so I just love that he gets to experience that. So not only, ethnically diverse, but socioeconomically diverse, even where they live in San Antonio. And I think it's very rare to find that at a lot of schools. So I love it here. I think it's a fantastic place to be.
Did it again. You did a great job explaining what some of the unique things about your campus, right? So that like as an SAISD choice school, then it's open to students all over the area. So right, but so if there are students within SAISD, they can get transportation, they can get help there, but you don't have to live in SAISD to
Right.
access YMLA, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And it sounds like from what you're describing, the students are really well rounded. That because like it's a small school, and so the activities are open to everyone. Like you don't have to just specialize. Just okay, I'm a sports guy. It's like no, you can do sports and band,
Yes.
and these like service activities, these leadership activities, and what a great way for kids to be able to try out all different aspects of their personality, and like who knows what they'll do when they grow up, but they'll have all these experiences to draw on.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that I also feel like they do it so often here that they forget how unique it is. So we have to remind them of that. But yes, they are involved in many different activities on campus.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, we've covered all you had so many good ideas in the guest blog post. We've covered all those. I just wonder, were there any like additional like stories or things you want to highlight? Anything that's happened like in the past week or so on campus?
Sure. So as part of the senior class, our students completed a college unit, and so we completed that last 9 weeks. One of my seniors has told me he's received over $450,000 in scholarship offers, and that's just from one student. So our students are amazing. They so this particular group has been with each other since the fourth grade, and so they are very familiar with one another. They know each other's potential. They'll motivate each other. But as far as college, that's been exciting to hear that a couple of students have got admitted into their dream school. One student was offered a 50,000 scholarship to go to Oregon. And then, of course, some of the Ivy League schools our students are waiting to hear back from. But just the idea of them knowing, maybe perhaps I'm not going to get admitted here, but I'm going to apply anyway to give it a shot. And I love that. I love that they did that. And then going back to my own experience as a parent, my son went to a neighborhood school as a part of where he's aligned to the feeder pattern in our neighborhood. And, he was very behind, especially with the pandemic and online learning. And I just thought, like, it was going to be a struggle for him to catch up, or that he, may always be a little bit behind and have that gap. but I love that students who tend to struggle um, are seen as gems and diamonds, and I know that's not at every school, and I love that it's here. And I think that's probably the best story that I could ever. I'm willing to drive an hour and 30. I mean, today it took me 2 hours to get to school with the road closures because I know it's worth it. And if that happened, if you're a parent or a guardian um, who maybe has a student like that and you're nervous about them possibly going to a charter school, just know that choice is important. And there's so many different opportunities that charter schools offer. And if you have any further questions, I'd be glad to answer them for you as well.
Yeah. Well, you've touched on some key points that, right. You talked about your principal focusing on growth, right? That it's not necessarily where students are at when they come in. It's how can they keep doing better and better
Right.
while they're at the school, and with this environment that understands male learners, and that that this need for movement and this need to like talk through ideas with each other, and what a great opportunity. So if parents are worried, right? How is my kid going to catch up? How are they going to succeed in a school environment? Just be aware that there's lots of different types of learning models out there, and YMLA might be just the right thing for your young man.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we do offer shadowing. There's been a couple of students who will come. They try it out and it's not for them, but at least they came and knew, okay. And then there are other students who come and they're like, yeah, this is the place in me to be. I can't wait to get here. Another highlight is that we are a smaller school. And so we're all very aware of each other and hold everyone's student accountable. So even though I don't teach, 6th through 8th grade, I see them in the hallway. I have them on my cross country team, and we have those types of conversations, even though I'm not their teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. This is great. I feel like I've learned so much more about YMLA culture and traditions, and about the academic rigor that y'all have. And so I'm going to put some banners up on the screen for folks who are curious and want to learn more. So YMLA is an SAISD choice school, and SAISD is currently holding open enrollment for choice schools. So if you go to saisdchoice.com, or you can click on the link in the description of the video that takes you to the blog post that has links to the school website and the saisdchoice.com. That's got the online application. So February 15th is the date for, you want to get in during open enrollment, is the best chance to get an offer. And then the grade levels that they're enrolling for next year is 6 through 12. Is that right?
6 through 12, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. So yeah, it's I have a hard time keeping track because SAC has academies and middle schools and high schools, right? So YMLA is unique again, 6 through 12. But what a great opportunity for boys to have their own space. They can have guy talk. They can have their traditions. They can have these outstanding football and basketball teams, band, choir, all this good stuff.
Yes, ma'am. It suits all types of interest for sure.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for the guest blog post. Thank you for joining me in the interview. Now go find your cross country team. Make sure that they're doing their sprints.
Well, I want to appreciate your time. It was a pleasure. I was nervous, but
you did great.
So thank you. I really appreciate your time, and you're allowing me space on your platform to talk about Young Men's Leadership Academy.
Well, thank you for all you do for your kids. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.